ANC acting spokesperson Dakota Legoete in response to the DA's billboard. Mr. Legoete, a very good morning to you. What are the ANC's views on this billboard?
Thank you very much, and to all the viewers and the listeners at home. Look, it is very regrettable, and it's a demonstrable evidence that the Democratic Alliance has run out of ideas, and it has reached serious proportions of desperation. It is very sad for our democracy, because I think the DA is missing the point in that it is using a tragedy to garner votes and support for the forthcoming national elections. There are no commemorations for now, and it is wrong for the DA to list the name of the victims on a billboard for election purposes. I'll make an example. In our way of life as Africans of Ubuntu, it is wrong to use somebody's death or to profit from somebody's death in our culture and how we are socialized. That is immoral. And I think the first point that the DA needs to understand was there's nothing that you can use effectively even to blackmail the governing party than to use a death or a tragedy of a person. It's an African, it's unheard of, it has not been done in the world. It's equally the same. For instance, if the ANC were aloof or naive, would have used the names of all comrades who were put in the gallows in this country as part of marketing. But we can't go to that level of desperation. It's wrong, and it cannot be encouraged. But furthermore,
your displeasure seems to be around the usage of the names of the people who died from these tragedies. What about the overall message that the DA is sending out, talking about the ANC killing people? What's your sense about that message?
Look, all these tragedies happened when the ANC was and is still a governing party. We take responsibility for that. And worst of everything is that there were commission of inquiries which were established to investigate, assess the evidence that was brought before the commission. Then both commissions have closed their work, their proper recommendations, which brings about remedial action that needs to be done by the government. And we agree as the ANC that we do not repeat such tragedies because they are necessary, and worse of everything, they do not speak well to our people. And I think that is the understanding that we need to understand. But it is wrong for anyone to rub salt in the wounds of the families which are healing, because so far recommendations of the commission made it very clear that government has to pay as part of ensuring that we respect, and it is the outcome of the commission, a certain fine and penalty. And government has clearly been instructed by both the commissions of the Falam and Moseneke that such tragedies must never be repeated. And I think that is a sign of remorse. But for somebody else, like the DA, to want to use this tragedy for profiteering, for gaining votes, because now it's not a commemoration. It is clear the billboard is about the forthcoming elections. It is wrong, and it lacks of ideas, and it's a bankruptcy. And I think this thing happens only immediately after the ANC held a successful rally at Mobida Stadium, where more than 150,000 people attended. But it's even worse that last week the Ipsos survey rated DA less than 15% from 24%. It is clear that they are panicking, they are insecure, they lack strategy, and for now they are just on a desperate mood.
It's quite upsetting when we've gotten to an age where we used tragedies such as this one's for campaigning. He touches on Marikana, he touches on the pit latrine situation where children continue to die and life esidimeni. You've touched a bit on how government responded to life esidimeni. There has been sentiment that there has not been adequate response to the Marikana tragedy.
Yes, look, recommendations of commissions are clear on what course of action needs to be done. I think it's incumbent upon the ANC-led government to ensure that we implement the recommendations of both commissions, to ensure that whatever that the commission has recommended... that.
Why is that not happening?
No, it's a matter that those who are in authority, our deployees, will make a follow-up with them as the African National Congress to ensure that they comply with the recommendations of the commission. They can't be a honeymoon. This is a matter which is very painful in the history of our country, and we can't make a mockery or a profit out of it. And those who are in the ANC government, be it the president, be it the premier, they must ensure that the recommendations of the commissions are implemented, because these commissions were established in line with the Constitution of the Republic, and all of us must be loyal to the Constitution, must be loyal to the code of the oath of office that we hold, and we must be loyal to respect the Constitution, including the recommendations of the Commission.
Is the ANC going to respond directly to the DA?
Look, as the African National Congress, we are weighing our options for now, whether to take the legal route or whatever. But for us, I don't think it's important to dignify a desperado like the DA for now, even taking them to court, because it has become very clear in our cases, the African National Congress. The DA uses now some of our words, Amandla, Viva, and so on and so forth. And they even sing our freedom songs in some of the activities. We have never stood very low to want to undermine them. We have just kept our cool. We are moving forward. We are steaming ahead. We are preparing ourselves to come back as a government of the Republic of South Africa to get a fresh mandate from our people. And we are humbly requesting not to disappoint their forebears, not to disappoint the African National Congress, and ensure that they vote ANC come May national general elections. So we are not going to focus on the DA. We are busy now doing door-to-doors. We are busy with our campaigns. We humbly request South Africans. We admit that even though the good was done, we also admit that the mistakes which were done, amongst them are these tragedies. And we own up as the African National Congress, and we humbly put ourselves before a voter and a South African to say, please give us another mandate.
Mr. Legoete, in other news, the Raymond Zondo Commission into State Capture reconvened yesterday, and Angelo Agrizi gave some very intriguing testimony. What sort of conversations have been taking place within the ANC following Mr. Agrizi's testimony?
Look, she's continuing again today, and the whole commission is continuing. I think as the African National Congress, for now, we reserve our comment until we will get the full report, because we know that about 38 names, which include some of the leaders, is going to be mentioned in the commission, or I don't know what is going to happen, but we will not want to comment before the whole submission of evidence is completed, so that we are clear on what needs to be done from there.
Are you worried? I mean, the latest conversation is the lists that the parties have been compiling for people to go to Parliament. Are you worried that things might have to be changed based on what comes out of Mr. Agrizi's list?
Look, we are not worried. As the African National Congress, we are clear that those who represent us as public office bearers or members of Parliament must be descendants of the highest order and caliber in our society. It is very clear that as the governing party, we have to account, because lack of accountability leads to anarchy, and anarchy leads to lawlessness, and lawlessness leads to a failed state. Now, the state can't collapse in the hands of the African National Congress. So that's why it's going to be important for all of us as members and leaders of the ANC to understand that we must uphold a high stage and caliber of descendants of our country, especially as we assume responsibilities in the executive, in public office. We can't downplay that, because we are given the responsibility to run the public fiscus, which is a taxpayer's money. We are given the responsibility to become lawmakers, which is going to impact on the life of ordinary South Africans. So all these things need people who are loyal, who are honest, and who can uphold the Constitution and defend it.
Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us. Dakota Legoete is the acting national spokesperson for the African National Congress.